Okay, Rabbi Say, what a schus to give a shiur on Amira Lakum to the koilel. Gishmak, gishmak. Amira Lakum is a big sugya. It's it's huge, and we'll try to do it in as much as we could get in today. We're going to go for, the plan is we're going to go through the basic Mekayres. I'm going to go through the quick version of all the kulas and exceptions, because they're going to be negea. We'll do that very quickly. And then we're going to start having some fun, rolling up our sleeves, get a little dirty into the sugya l'meisa, get through some lumdis, and have an awesome time. So let's go. Gishmak. Okay. So Amira Lakum. What's wrong with Amira Lakum? I mean, goyim are allowed to be mechal Shabbos. In fact, a goy is not even allowed to keep Shabbos. So what's the big deal? Let the goy be mechal Shabbos. Ma baya. So it's a good question. So l'maisa, we have a pasuk that we quote of Kol Malacha Lo Yasu Behem, and the Smag actually learns that Amira Lakum is the issur d'oraisa. However, the problem is we have many Gemaras which seem to call Amira Lakum a shvus. So tzarichin exactly how the Smag considers it to be a issur d'oraisa, and everybody pretty much rejects the Smag and treats Amira Lakum as issur d'Rabbanan, and the pasuk is a smachta. So whenever you have a d'Rabbanan that has a pasuk as a smachta, it lifts the Rabbanan to be a little bit more of a chomer dikar d'Rabbanan, because there's a smachta attached to it. There's, so to speak, a Torah sign to it, but l'maisa that doesn't make it d'oraisa. Okay. So what is the basis for this issur? If it's the Rabbanan, why were the Rabbanan geyser that Amira Lakum be a problem? So there are 3 or 4 shitas in the Rishonim. One shita is the shita of the Rambam. The Rambam says that it's a problem that the issur that Chil Shabbos or issur Shabbos will be kal in your eyes, and if you're always being mechal Shabbos via your goy, eventually you're going to come to be mechal Shabbos yourself, and therefore we asked Amira Lakum. There's the shita of the Ritva, which is a little different. The Ritva also goes with this idea that we don't want this Shabbos to be light in your eyes. We don't want there to be zilzul Shabbos. But he doesn't have the knetch of the Rambam that you're going to come to be over malacha. It's be'etzim a problem of the zilzul Shabbos. There is a shita of Rashi. There's 2 separate Rashis. One Rashi says the issue is we have a issur d'Rabbanan, a davar dover, even though it's from the Divrei Nevi'im, it's from Divrei Kabbalah, it's from Nach, but Davar Dover, which says you're not allowed to talk about Chil Shabbos, you're not allowed to talk about issur Shabbos on Shabbos. When you do Amira Lakum, you're talking about the Yisurim. There's another Makar and a different Rashi that says it's an issue of Shlichus. What's the issue? Now, there's a couple of questions that people ask on Rashi, and really the 2 sets of questions answer each other. Some people ask on Rashi, if it was shlichus, if the guy was your shlich, it wouldn't be issur d'Rabbanan, it would be issur d'oraisa. If I send the shlich to be mekadesh a woman, is that woman married to me d'Rabbanan, or is that woman married to me d'oraisa? D'oraisa. Shlichus is shlichus, it works d'oraisa. So if the guy was your shliach, it would be issur d'oraisa. The other set of akronim ask on Rashi the opposite way. They say, well, how can you say shlichus? Ain't shlichus l'nachri. There's no shlichus for a guy. They're not b'nei shlichus. And they also ask, ain't shlichus l'dvar avera. But really, the two, they answer each other. Since ain't shlichus l'nachri and ain't shlichus l'dvar avera, memela mid'oraisa, they don't count as, the guy doesn't count as your shliach. But mid'Rabbanan, since it doesn't smell right, the Rabbanan answered this d'Rabbanan dika shlichus. Okay. Some people ask that the 2 Rashis are seemingly a steer to each other, but it's not really a good kasha to ask that the Rashis are a steer, because they're really going to be mekayres and reasons for different types of Amira Lakum. For example, to go ask a goy on Erev Shabbos to do a malacha on Shabbos is usur, but on Erev Shabbos there's no davar dover. But if it's shlichus, it's a problem. And on the opposite side, if you ask a guy on Shabbos to do a malacha for you on Matzah Shabbos, shlichus wouldn't be a problem. The malacha is being done on Matzah Shabbos. But klapi davar davar, it's a problem to tell the guy to do the malacha on Shabbos. So really, it's not such a good kasha, the stira in Rashi. Okay, let's talk about the biggest misconception that there is in Amira Lakum. Amira Lakum is like one of those things that like some people seemingly just like don't keep it. It's like, I'm not shomer negiah. I don't keep Amira Lakum. It's a crazy thing. I'm talking about, bring you back to 9th grade days. You know what I'm saying? So, The people, they make clips of like they cut out little parts of what you say. So, so the people just don't keep Amira Lakum. It's crazy. You go to certain places, certain people, certain places. You have people that are from people that daven, more or less 3 times a day, and they just don't keep Amira Lakum. It's wild. It's crazy. It's the Amiratzis of Amira Lakum is kamat unprecedented. Okay, so a lot of people know this idea that you're not allowed to tell the guy to do the malacha. You have to be merames. But what a lot of people do not know is that they don't realize that the hana that's created from the malacha that the guy did is aser. You're not allowed to get hana from the malacha of the guy in certain scenarios, as we're going to discuss right now. So I'm going to break down this hana of the guy into 3 different categories. There's 3 different types of hana that you can get from the guy. One is absolute direct hana gemura, which is when you go.
But that's also even not Amira's love.
Even without Amira, correct.
Fries and egg.
Correct. So this is something that people do not know. This is my point. You're right. We're there in a second. I'm going to get to it, even if the guy does it by himself. So if the guy does the absolute malacha, we're going to use the lights as the classic example, but this is going to apply across the board. Yeah. So let's say the guy, there's a pitch dark room. It's dark as could be, the basement, and the guy goes and turns on the lights. It goes from pitch dark to light. So in that case, the hana, that's absolute hana from the guy. Case number 2 that we're going to discuss is what I would call indirect benefit. What is that? That's, for example, the lights were on in your bedroom and you can't sleep with the lights on, and therefore the guy goes and shuts those lights off. Now you are allowed to get the enjoyment, so to speak, of sleeping with the lights off, because you are not getting hana from anything that the guy did. It's indirect benefit. You are not there's nothing here that you are benefiting from the guy. The guy took away the problem. That's indirect benefit. Category number 3 is additional benefit. Taisefes hana.
It's like this creating a solution versus taking away the problem.
Correct. So if you create something positive, we could, depending on the case, and in many cases, we're going to answer that positive thing that you created. But when you took away the problem, there's nothing to answer. It might have been us to take away the problem. That potentially we have to discuss in a minute. But once the problem was taken away, there's nothing left to answer. No, category number 3 is the additional hana, the tesefes hana. That's when I already had a little light in the room, but let's say I wasn't comfortable in the room. And now the guy goes and turns on the lights to give additional light in the room. So we're going to see in certain scenarios that might be mutter. Now, without any of the heterim, there's going to be a heterim that we're going to discuss in a minute, but without any of the heterim, a goy cannot be asked to do an action that will result in any of the 3 types of hana. So you cannot ask a guy to turn on your light, you cannot ask a guy to shut off your light, and you cannot ask a guy to give you additional light, unless we have one of the heterim that we are going to discuss. Now, if the guy went and did the malacha on his own, right? Or the guy did the malacha because you were merames to him, shaloi b'derech tzivoy, you played by the rules which we're going to discuss in a minute, then that is able to, in certain criteria, as we will discuss, if you did that, you're able to sleep in that dark room. What you did, you're able to tell him in those scenarios. Once again, there's going to be some klolim that we're going to get to soon. But in the right scenarios where you were meramesh shalei b'derech tzivai, you're going to be able to sleep in that room that the light is gone, and you're going to be able to, if there was light and now there was tesefes light that was created, there was hana and you created tesefes hana, you could get hana enjoyment from that hana. So even though it would have been annoying to eat in that room with a little light, and now it's geschmack to eat in that room with a lot of light, you would be able to, if the guy did it by himself, or if the guy did it with this meramesh shalei b'derech tzivai, you would be able to get hana from those actions. Okay, now, like this. There are exceptions when a guy can be asked to do a malacha, and the hana will therefore be allowed as well. Whenever you're allowed to ask the guy, then as you would expect, the hana will be allowed as well. Now, I'm just going to quickly run through all the exceptions, and then we're going to roll up our sleeves a little bit. But it's good to know the exceptions so we can understand each case. So I'm just going to run through the list quickly. These are the first group of exceptions, are exceptions that you could get a guy to do either a malacha d'Rabbanan or even a malacha d'Oraisa. So you could get a guy to do even a malacha d'Oraisa if you ask him during Bein HaShmashos of Friday night for a Shabbos need. That's exception number one. Exception number two is if the malacha that's being performed for you is a psik reisha. What does that mean? That means I didn't ask the guy to turn on the light in the fridge. I asked the guy to open the fridge. So therefore, the fact that the light goes on in the fridge, I'm picking sides. It happens to be Shlomo Zalman argues with this example. It's probably a bad example. It's from Moshe Feinstein holds this, from Shlomo Zalman argues. But let's just work with Moshe Feinstein in this example. I didn't ask the guy to open the light in the fridge. I asked him to open the door. And therefore, when he opens the door and the light goes on, I didn't ask him to open the light, and it wasn't his intention to open the light. That's just usur because of psik reisha. We wouldn't be allowed to do it ourselves. But when it comes to Amira Lakum, that is allowed. Number 3 is for a chayil she'ein bei sakana. A chayil she'ein bei sakana, somebody who's bedridden or somebody that has an ailment that's affecting their whole body. For that person, we could use Amira Lakum to help that person out. Heter number 4 is Amira Amira. You could ask a guy to ask another guy to do something for you. This has limitations. We'll get back there. Number 5 is also there's limitations. Mitzvah d'Rabbim. If there's you can only have Kriyas HaTorah there's only going to have Kriyas HaTorah if you get the light on. So there will very often be times where you could go and get the light on for that, let's say for example, that Kriyas HaTorah. Now the next group of heterim.
You often see people do it with the AC or...
So you often see people do it, as you're going to see in a minute, often see people do it is not going to be a raya that it's allowed. but sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Just to give you an example, I'm not saying we're going to go with this Rav Yashiv at the end of the day. But Rav Yashiv, for example, he didn't allow them to, when the generator went off in Tifrach on Shabbosim, so you would need to get a guy to turn on that generator when it was in the summer. You have yeshiva with 700 boys, and the Tifrach summer probably like 120 degrees outside. I don't know what, 110 degrees, nuts. So Rav Yashiv said for them it's usur to turn on that get that air conditioning or that electricity turned on Shabbos. I'm not saying we're going to go with the Rav Yashiv, but I just want to show that it's not simple. He was. Rav Aaron Cutler allowed it. Rav Yashiv didn't allow it, and Nissim Krelitz also didn't allow it. So Bnei Brak and Tifrach are the Seder. But L'maisa, if they would have asked me instead of asking Rav Yashiv, I probably would have been matter. But L'maisa, I just want to say it's not so pashut every time everybody flips on the air conditioner. But we'll get there. We'll get back there in a minute. Now,
in all these cases, you can do a mirror
without a remez.
Yeah.
Yes, these cases, if you fit into one of the heterim that we discussed, a remez is not necessary. Fine. Now, as we said before, also it's also to tell a guy during the week to do anything for Shabbos. It's also to tell a guy on Shabbos to do a malacha during the week. Now, there is one leniency when you tell a guy on Shabbos during the week about doing a malacha the next Shabbos. There is one leniency. It still needs to be a remez, but it doesn't have to be derech tzivoy. So therefore, you could tell the guy, why didn't you turn down the air conditioning last Shabbos? Hint, hint, hint for next Shabbos. Why didn't you turn down the electricity last Shabbos? Usually, you're not supposed to mention the malacha. It's going to be in that fashion. But when you're asking him during the week, you would be allowed to. Okay, if a guy did malacha for a Jew, the issur hana lasts for a period that we call kadesh yasu. Kadesh yasu means the amount of time it took to do the malacha. It's for that extra time after Shabbos ends. It's that additional amount of time. Now, if we're talking about something like flipping on a light switch, that's no biggie because it takes a quarter of a second to flip on a light switch. So therefore, you're not allowed to get hana from that light switch, assuming you had no heterim to turn on that light. So you're not allowed to get hana from that light the entire Shabbos. And additionally, you're not allowed to get hana up to a quarter second after Shabbos. not a big deal. But let's say, for example, you plugged in the chalm pot in the beginning of, before Shabbos, on Erev Shabbos, and you realize that, and the guy realizes, oh my gosh, look, they didn't put the meat, they didn't put the chalm into the chalm pot. It's on the counter in the insert. The insert has the chalm made, and they didn't put it in. So the reason I'm just saying plugged it in before Shabbos, I want to avoid Amira Lakum. It won't help the Sfardim actually, but for the Ashkenazim, I want to help the Amira Lakum. I said Amira Lakum. I meant Bishul Lakum. It helps for the Ashkenazim on the Bishul Lakum. It doesn't help the Sfardim on Bishul Lakum. Sorry, that's what I meant. Sorry. So you plugged it in before Shabbos, and the guy says Nebuch. What's a Shabbos without a chalt? And so the guy goes and takes the chalt and puts it into the crock pot, and then it cooks nice 15, 16 hours. Are you allowed to have that chalt? So no, you're not allowed to have that chalt. And it's Bishul b'Shabbos, this is the right, so you can't have that chalt. So therefore, how long is that chalt can be yasser? It's going to be yasser till 15, 16 hours after Shabbos is over until you could actually have that chalt, because you have to wait the amount of hours that it cooked on Shabbos. Okay, very interesting question. What about a woman who has making a kiddush in her house, a beautiful fancy kiddush? They prepared it all Shabbos morning from 8 a.m. They're preparing it until everybody got back from shul to go to the kiddush. And she goes and asks her cleaning lady, take a picture of this beautiful kiddush. I want to have the picture. So was that allowed or was that usher to ask the cleaning lady to take a picture? Usher, pashut.
Going back to the challenge.
Yeah.
If it's only in the stomach where Yafaloi.
So if it's not Yafaloi, it's still a problem.
No,
you're still getting enough from the Mesa.
It went off. It was already Kamachel Ben Dusoy or whatever it was, and now he just it tripped. The electricity tripped, and he will fix it back on. So maybe if it's only in the stomach where Yafaloi, maybe.
So we're going to get into filling the electricity back on. If it was done the right way, it's going to be good. If it was done the wrong way, it will be bad. We'll get to it soon. So, you'll see. Hold on, hold your horses. Okay, so where were we holding? We were holding at the picture of the Kiddush, yeah? So the picture of the Kiddush, was that allowed to ask the cleaning lady to take a picture? No. You asked the cleaning lady to do a malacha for you. It's issur. It's called Amira Lakum. So it's issur, yeah? Now, how long is that? At what point could you start getting enough from that picture? Forever. Because by the time the Shabbos is over, that Kiddush is eaten and thrown out and gone and done. So could you take that picture on Matzah Shabbos? You can't. So that picture is issur forever. Kadesh Yasu, you never get to Kadesh Yasu.
Why?
Because Kadesh Yasu is the amount of time that you would have been able to do it after Shabbos. The light switch, it would have taken you a quarter second after Shabbos to turn on. This picture, it doesn't matter, as long as you would wait after Shabbos, you would never get to a situation where you could have had that picture.
It takes 2 seconds to snap this picture.
Yeah, but the Kiddush isn't there anymore. It's Kishmak. The Kiddush is gone. You can't take a picture.
The Kiddush is in the Malacha.
No.
The picture that's the Malacha.
I know, but since you couldn't get to that, you couldn't get that specific Malacha, it's done. You're arguing me. I want to tell you another extreme. You're arguing me a little bit further. We're going to take it a step further. You ready?
What's the Malacha?
The malacha, you can't get hana from the malacha. The malacha was taking a picture, and you can't get hana from that picture.
It was taking the picture.
You can't get hana from that Maisa Avera. If you look at a picture and you say, oh, it was so beautiful, you're getting hana from that picture. You can't get enough from that picture. It's asa b'ana.
It's the same thing on the news if he takes a video for...
Okay, we're going to get to the news in a second. We'll get to the news. News is going to be easier. Maybe. So I saw like a month ago or so, I saw a video on Yeshiva World of some Chayalim singing Kabbalah Shabbos in Gaza. Beautiful, amazing. Mikamcha Yisrael. And it had on the bottom of this video a little caption. This video was taken by a guy. So it was one of the soldiers, a Drew or a Russian soldier or whatever. He took the video. The question that I want to ask is that video issur b'hana? Is one allowed to look at that video?
Did anyone ask him to do it?
Did anybody ask? So why did he do it? So we're gonna put it out in a second. Sounds pretty gefährlich, right? Sounds pretty bad. I'm gonna give one more example, and then we're gonna break it down. I saw a couple of years ago a video.
The video of what, this case you just mentioned?
Kabbalah Shabbos in Gaza. So I was thinking maybe there would be a heter. First I was thinking it's Geferlich. Then I was thinking, you know what? Maybe it was during Ben Hashmashis. Because one of the heterim is you're allowed to do Amira Lakum Ben Hashmashis for any Tzarech Shabbos. But then I'm like, wait a second. Usually this is like the easiest thing. When it comes to anybody who ever asks the question, could I ask the guy during Beis Shmashis? It's always like an automatic yes. Because you need anything that's a Tzarech Shabbos. Why are you asking the guy? You're only running to ask the guy if it's a Tzarech Shabbos. So it's like always mutter to ask a guy to do Amira Lakum during Beis Shmashis. Then I'm like, wait a second. This case of taking a video of the Chayalim singing Kabbalah Shabbos, it's beautiful and all, but is it a Tzarech Shabbos? No. So I don't think we have that heter either ways, even if it was during Beis Shmashis, because I'm not sure if it was or not. But it's still not simple that heter would apply. So maybe the guy holds Rabbeinu Tam, but then you don't need the hell heter Beis Shmashis if you're going to work with that. Fine. So we're going to get, there might be heter, and we'll get there in a second. I want one more example, which is another Geschmack example. I saw a couple years ago a beautiful, beautiful, uplifting video of the davening, the Musaf davening on Rosh Hashanah in Uman. And everybody was dancing, and it was Geschmack, it was beautiful. And I just don't know who took that video. I hope it was a guy. You know?
He took it for himself.
Oh, so very good. So I'm going to get there in a sec. And I also saw a different video, a drone video of Tashlach. You know, amazing video, Tashlach and Uman, on Rosh Hashanah afternoon. So is this all allowed? So I think it will depend. Why did the guy take the video? Why did the Drew soldier take a video? The Druze soldier take a video? Why did the guy by Tashlach take the video? And why did the guy, probably the aide of some old man or something like that in Uman, why did he take the video? So if he took the video, if the aide of the old man took the video because he wanted to send it to his employer, that's bad. That's geferlich. If he took the video because he wanted to post it on YouTube to show the Jewish people who are so nice, here's do them a taiva, that's pretty geferlich. If he's one of these guys that he sees something, whenever something interesting is going on, he takes out his phone and he starts videoing it, and then he posts it on Twitter, and he posts it on Instagram, he posts it on Facebook whenever he sees something interesting. So then he's doing it for himself. Even if he's also doing it so the Jews could see, but if he's doing it for himself, then it would be allowed. So I don't know the Metzias in all these videos why exactly the guy was taking the video. Because, listen, if I would go and there'd be 40,000 Africans in the green dresses going to around the lake saying stuff, I would also take out my camera and start videoing it. This is weird. This is interesting. I'll send it to my family chat. Look what I just saw. 40,000 Africans around a lake, It's weird. It's interesting. So the question is, why did the guy who took the video, why did he take the video? I don't know the answer. But it's totally on that.
But it's like a suffix Jarabana.
So suffix derabanan, maybe, but we do treat Amira Lakum pretty chamerdik, so it's maybe there might. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure.
I'm just not going to. I wouldn't watch it.
L'chayra, you shouldn't watch it, but I can't say it's a problem. I can't say it with any about those.
Probably tell when he posted.
Usually, I think the way these work is they don't start off in Yeshiva World. They started somewhere else and they found their way to Yeshiva World. So it's very hard to know.
Posted it. You didn't post it for the Hasidic guy. You posted it.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, fine. Let's go weiter. But I thought that was geschmack. Now, let's say a Jew was over and he asked the guy to shut off the light. He didn't. He's one of those people that his minhag is that he doesn't keep halacha, and his minhag is that he does Amira Lakum. So he asked the guy to please shut the light for me. He asked his cleaning lady, right? And then what happened is he did some tshuva. He heard about Amira Lakum. Is he allowed to sleep in the room? So the answer is yes. He's allowed to sleep in the room because he's allowed to sleep in the room because there's nothing to aser. There's no hana to aser. When you shut off the light in the room, there's nothing left there to aser. Now, obviously, if somebody was over and turned on the light, then you're not allowed to get hana from that room. What if somebody was over and there was a little light in the room and he asked the guy straight out to turn on the light, and the guy went and turned on the light, so now there's a lot of light in the room. It's geschmack. It used to be it was okay, but now it's geschmack. So L'maisa, it's a little bit of a hak, but L'maisa we're makel, and we say that you're allowed to get hana from that additional light. Now,
Does he have to leave if there wasn't any light? Does he have to leave?
So it depends on two scenarios. If he asked the guy to turn it on, Mr. Bruce says he has to leave the house, or at least go to a different part of the house which is not connected to there. If the guy went on his own volition and turned on the light for you, then you can't get any hana from that light, but you don't have to mamish run out of the house. So what that means in an apartment, I'm not exactly sure. Now, then again, I don't think the Chafetz Chaim had that much of a bigger house, so I'm not really sure. But okay. Now, fine. What happens when, here's a very interesting thing.
Can other guys come and have hana from their club?
Ah, very good. So, Lemaisa, that is a very good question. If we know that the guy did it for group A, we allow group B to get hana from that light. Okay. Now,
so that everyone else is allowed to look at the picture of the kiddush, not him.
so it's a little bit complicated because not only the guy who asked, it's whoever the light was for. Meaning, let's say one person asked to turn on the light for our family of 20 people. So for that family of 20 people, the light is usur. For a different group of people, it would be mutter. So when you take a picture of a kiddush, I don't know exactly to how far it goes of who exactly that picture of the kiddush was for. So it's very difficult to be megader. In theory, if you find somebody that picture wasn't for, then that person will be able to get hana if it would be hana for them, if there is such a metzias of that. Yeah.
In your example of the aide in Uma who's taking a
Yeah.
video for his employer, right? In that case, his intent is for someone specific.
Right. The question is, nowadays there's such a matzif of viral, such a concept of viral, and the aide also knows about viral. So I don't know if we could say such a thing anymore. I'm just not sure. It could be when the aide is taking the picture, I'm going for my employer, but I also would love if this goes viral. I don't know if that's part of his attention. Is that standard das now? I think that is standard das. When you see something cool, when somebody in the world nowadays sees something cool, I think they want it to go viral. So once there's a concept of viral, it's very difficult to say it wasn't intended for anybody anymore, I think.
Is the warning like not underage viewers and not Jewish viewers?
Listen, I don't know if Yeshiva World asked the Shaila, and I don't know if they did research before doing this. I have no idea. I didn't start asking. Okay. Now, here's an interesting case. Yeah, we said that you're allowed to ask a goy. Let's say the guy, forget I asked the guy. Actually, forget ask the guy. A guy comes in. We're having a bar mitzvah. Yeah, and by the bar mitzvah, the lights go out. But we still have all the Shabbos candles around. Everybody lit the 2 candles here, 2 candles there. Maybe some people were yotze, some people were not yotze, maybe, but whatever. We have Shabbos candles in the room. And the lights go out. The guy goes, sees the lights out, and he goes in his own volition and turns the light on. Now, were you able to eat in this dining room with a little bit of the light from the Shabbos candles? Yes. Right? But it wasn't kishmak. Now that we have Tesefes Hainat, Tesefes Or, now it's kishmak. So, could you continue eating in that dining room? Yes. Then as the meal goes on, all those tea lights go out. The initial or is gone. Can you continue eating and can you continue getting hana in that room? So the Maisa, the Bir Halacha paskins that once the initial light disappears, that becomes a case of just like if the guy would have lit the room in a pitch dark room where it'd be asa b'hana, and now that room changes to a issur hana. Just to point out, it's good to know the Maisa, the Taz is mekel b'tzarach gadol, and the Chayodim is mekel by any tzarach. And this obviously, this bar mitzvah case I just said is the tzarach gadol. However, generally the Mishnah Brewers are Rebbe more than the Chayodim. Listen, if a Rav wanted to be mekel on such a matzv, I think there is such basis to be mekel. Okay, now the Magen Avram quotes the Haggais Mordechai b'Shem Rabbeinu Simcha. Then not only can't you get hana, not only can you ask a guy to turn on a light for you or something similar, but you actually have to make a macha and tell the guy not to turn it on. There's a chiyuv of macha to prevent the guy from doing a malacha for you. Now, the Chayodim, the Graz, and the Chilas Shabbos say that we were only mekabel this din of Rabbeinu Simcha when it came to absolute direct hana. Meaning Rabbeinu Simcha said this by all three cases, so to speak. You have a chiyuv of being meicha and stopping the goy from doing anything for you. But l'maisa, based on as the Chayodim and Graz and Kichos Shabbos say, we are only makabel this din of a chiyuv of making a macha when it's providing absolute 0 to 60 pitch dark to light type hana. Okay? And by the way, I just want to also put in for a second, we're not only talking about light, even though I'm using this as the easiest example. The same thing would be true, let's say, about air conditioning. If we don't have one of the other heterim, sometimes you might have it. If the air conditioning is off, to turn it on, that's a big problem. That's absolute hana. If the air conditioning is on, but it's at 23 degrees and we would love it at 19, that's additional hana, and that would be much more kulidik, as we're discussing. Fine. Now, if you are moicha, what happens? Let's say the guy is going to turn on the light for you, and you're moicha, and you're like, no, Shabbos, don't do it. And the guy goes and turns on the light anyways. Are you allowed to get hana from that light? Kishmak Shayla, right? So the poskim say you are allowed to get hana from that light. You know why? Because that wasn't my das. It was a dated navshe. The guy was doing it for himself. It's the greatest raya that the guy is doing it for himself, because I said not to do it. However, if this is a guy that already knows the system, and if it's a guy that's like, it's a joke, your macha, meaning you make a macha, but he knows you really want it. He knows you sat down with the guy once, you showed him the Mishnah Berurah, you showed him the macha, and you learned the sugya with him, and now he says, okay, I know you're making macha, I'm turning it on anyways. Then it would be usher to get hana from that light. So once again, if you are really making a macha and the guy is really doing it anyways, then it will be allowed to get hana from that light. A case that I didn't see in the poskim, but I think it's pretty common, probably, and I think it would be a problem. What about this? What if you are making a real macha? You really mean it. And the guy understands that you really mean it. But the guy wants to turn the light anyways. You know why? He knows these Jews, they have such a problem with this whole Shabbos pain in the neck thing. And I want them to enjoy themselves. I don't want them to have to sit in the dark. And the guy is doing it anyways, but you understand, and everybody here understands, it's not that he's trying to fight with you and go against you. But he's doing it because he wants to help you. L'chayr, that'd be a problem. L'chayr, it's hard to say that's a daita de nafshe. L'chayr, that's doing it for the Jew. And l'chayr, such a case would be a problem. But I did not see that. I don't have a raya for this. I didn't see this mefurish, but that's my own svar. Now, in a case where, let's say, somebody can't read with the amount of light. It's just the tea lights back to our mitzvah before. So you can't read the zemiris. You can't read your speech with that little bit of light. But you could eat, right? So now when we go and we turn on the big lights, when the guy goes and turns on the big lights by himself, right? So you're still not allowed to read. You could eat the meal in a more pleasant way, but if you weren't able to read with a little bit of light, so klape reading, it's considered absolute hana. And memela, you would not be able to read any further. Now, what if there's another very common example? What if the room has no internal light, but you get some light in the room that's coming from the street lights outside of the house, and now you want to get the light turned on? Is that considered absolute hana, which is always going to be usher to have a guy, when a guy turns on that light? Or is it considered that I'm asking the guy for additional light, which in that case, as long as the guy does it by himself, it would be okay? So Lemaisa Shmuel Arbach wanted to say that was absolute hana. Because since in this house there's no hana, there's no light, and now you're bringing light in this house, therefore it's considered absolute hana, and it's a problem. Lemaisa, the poskim are makel on this, and the poskim say that if there is light coming into the house already, Lemaisa, there's a mitzias of light, so any additional light is additional light, and therefore we would be much more makel when you have additional light in addition to what was coming in through the window.
Even like turning on the AC, if it isn't that, if like the temperature in the room naturally isn't that difficult in the first place, even turning on the AC is the same situation.
No, so the poskim say the AC is different. The AC, if the AC was on a little bit, as I said, to 23, and you are making that source of coolness bring more cool air, that would be allowed. But it's not about the temperature in the room. It's about, was the AC doing something? And if the AC was off, then to go turn it on would be a problem. One thing that could be allowed is if you have two ACs on, let's say you have two ACs on, and you want to turn a third AC on, that you'd be able to. Once again, without, you have to tell them in the right way, which we didn't discuss yet what the right way is. But if you ask the guy in the right way, getting the third AC on would be allowed. But even if it's not so, it's a little cool, but you want a cooler, that would not be a heter that would be considered absolute hana.
It seems similar to the light coming out from outside and flicking on.
Yeah, so there's a chiluk between temperature and AC. The AC is a active component, whereas the light is coming in. But I hear why you would be. You hear the chiluk over here. It's once again, I could hear the argument why the chiluk wouldn't be mechalik, but there is a chiluk. Okay, now where are we up to? Okay, yes. So fine. Now, can one enter a hotel room where you had the guy go and the guy used the magnetic key card and opened the door for you? Could you, let's say he did it by himself without you asking, could you go into the room? Well, of course you could. There's Pesach programs that do that. Not a raya. Can you do that? So, Lamaisa, Ramesha, this is the Geshmak, the Shitas over here. What's a Svar, by the way? What would you guys say in Svar? Could you go in the room that the guy opened the door with the key card?
You said there's Sarf Gadol,
No. This is not. No, we can't do issur the well, the rice of the rabbanon depends on who you pass them like. But could we plan on doing this? Could we have the guy open the lock?
You could argue that he's doing it for himself.
Why is he doing it for himself?
Because if he doesn't do it, he's fired.
Maybe the person discussed this. We aren't Saimich on that svar, but it is that is brought up in the poskim. There is a tzad for that in the poskim, but Lamaisa nobody's makel on that. But it is brought up in the poskim that maybe it's considered that he does it for himself when he gets paid. But the answer why they don't rely on that is because then in a way it makes it worse. Because since you are, even if you're not directly paying him, but since the one who's paying for him has a craze to do it for you, so it makes it with the chain of events he's doing it for you. But it's debatable. I agree, it's debatable. It's not shvus, it's just a chain reaction.
I need to sleep. He needs to keep his job. One's got nothing to do with it.
Okay, so the question right now is, could you get, is that considered hana from the Maisa? So Zakt, Ramoshe Feinstein and Rishon Zalman, it's also, no, it's not psik ratio, he's doing it, he's opening the door.
But it's like,
you're close. Not there, but you're close. So you're close to Rav Yashiv's head there. Rav Moshe Feinstein and Rishon Zalman aser it because you're getting enough from the Maisa of the guy. The guy went and opened your door, which was electric, and now you are getting enough from that. Zakt Rav Moshe Feinstein, Rishon Zalman, that would be aser. Zakt Rav Yashiv, no, you would be allowed to get enough from that. Why? The lock was just a barrier preventing you from getting into your room. All the guy did was remove the barrier. You're not getting the room isn't the hana of the Maisa. All the guy did is took away the barrier. The guy took away the barrier. Mamila, I could get hana from the room. So this is one of your fun examples where you have a chumrah of Rav Moshe Feinstein and Rishon Zalman and a kula of Rav Yashiv. All right, geshmak. I love when you get those once in a while. Pretty far between. If a suitcase shows up from Ben Gurion on Shabbos morning, and they had a guy, they were nice enough to drive it in, the guy, because you came in Friday and your suitcase was still left in France, and now your suitcase came in Shabbos morning. They drive it to you. Are you allowed to get hana from that? What's in that suitcase? No. You cannot, unless you have some special medication for a chayla or something like that, you cannot get enough from that suitcase, and it's aser kadesh yasu. This is something that people don't realize. Kadesh yasu, when you're dealing with flights, it could be a long time. Depending on, you got to do your research maybe, but it might be 7 hours of time after Shabbos until you can actually get hana from what's in the suitcase. Okay, now, up until now, we were discussing two possibilities. The two possibilities were you did the malacha yourself, versus the other possibility was when the guy just went and did it for you. Now, there is a way of asking a guy to do malacha for you. And that needs the requirement of mirames shalei b'derech tzivoy. If you're mirames shalei b'derech tzivoy, then the goy could do malacha for you. Now, it's not really true. I didn't phrase that correctly. Then the goy could do malacha. What's the vart of why the goy could do malacha when it's mirames shalei b'derech tzivoy? It's because he's not doing it for you. He's doing it on his own. I never told him to do it. I didn't tell him to do it. And since I didn't tell him to do it, he's doing it on his own. If he's doing it on his own, it's going to be okay. Once again, we're not talking about absolute hana, because when you're talking about turning on the lights from pitch dark to light, he can't do it. It's going to be, you have to make a macha against that. But we're talking about additional lights or turning off the lights. So you could get a guy to do that with Maram Shloi B'derech Tzivoi. A lot of people know about the remez part and forget about the Shloi B'derech Tzivoi part. Which, what does that mean exactly? So that means, the way to do it, before I do that, the way to do it is, the main way to do it is you tell the guy a story. You tell the guy a story. I'm in my house, in my room, and the lights are on and I can't go to sleep. And without telling the guy to do anything. Rev Vosner, Rev Elyashiv, and Rav Scheinberg all say you can't tell the guy, I'm not allowed to shut off the lights. You can't tell him that. And you can't, because it's in a way, you can't mention the shame issur of turning off the lights. Poskim say you can't even say, please help me. Because please help me is a tzivoy. You're telling him to do something. You're not allowed to tell him to do something. You can tell him the story and he can act by himself. But you can't tell him to do something. So you can't say, please help me. The Pri Megadim brings the Rosh that says you can't tell the guy to come inside. Here, come inside to my house. I got to show you something. Because once again, you're telling him to do something. You can't tell him to do anything. You have to just, tell the story.
Even not the also, come inside is not.
Yeah, you can't, because now he's already under he's following your directive. Once he's following your directive, the Pri Megadim holds it's a problem. The Chai Adam says hand motions can also be a problem. Derech Tzivoi. You can't tell him like this. It gets very complicated. And if the guy asks, should I shut the lights off? You're not allowed to say yes. Because when you say yes to the question, should I shut the lights off? What are you saying? You're saying, yes, you should shut the lights off. And you're not allowed to say, yes, you should shut the lights off. So if the guy says, should I shut the lights off? You have to answer, should I shut the lights off? I can't sleep with the lights on. And let the guy draw his own conclusions. So the main thing, we'll finish up right now, but the point is you have to make the guy do his own conclusions. This could be very comical by a guy that's not used to the spiel. The goyim that are used to the spiel, they get it. The goyim that are not used to the spiel, if you do it right, it can be very comical. What do you want from me? Well, I can't sleep with the lights on. What are you saying, man? And it gets even more comical when you're telling a guy that doesn't speak Hebrew well to an Arab that doesn't speak Hebrew well and trying to be merames in Hebrew. It can be very, very comical. I guess we'll cut it over here and we'll take it up next time. All right.